So guys, one of the esoterics decided to sneak into the group and start listening. So the video about Paula White and the bee stuff, this is the esoteric information that these guys want you to think that is going on. Let's read what this says. Everybody trying make lies truth. Oh, everybody let's add some words in here. Everybody is trying to make lies truth. Duh. All efforts are in vain. Christ's family's main sign is a honeybee. That's esoteric information. Christ's family created Masons. Christ is human and is a Mason, and in many other sacred orders, including the Rosicrucian, is Christ's true teachings, wedding of, I don't know what CR is, his same wedding of Lamb. Watch Keith King's Masons receive the light. If you can't stop lying, you want to know or be able. Oh, if you can't stop lying, you won't know or be able to believe Messiah's testimony. This is what this person is saying is the Messiah's testimony. Light is human, exclamation point, believe it or not. I did not see a chapter or a verse for that. But everything this person just said, who is an alchemical, the alchemist, the King Dickinson, wow, dude. With all of the phallic worship stuff, and that's the name that you picked. Oh boy. Alright guys, so since we know this person has zero discernment, let's go over and establish what is discernment. I am going to go over and put this video that's called Discernment into the show description and into the top comment for this video. But this is how you read the scriptures and you find out who is telling you lies. If you can't see them as easily as the esoterics just telling you outright that they are the bees and they are the Masons and they are trying to tell us that their symbolism is for Jesus, but Yeshua said, have no graven images, no likenesses of anything in heaven or on earth. That includes logos. Jesus is not affiliated with anything at all except for God is God. That's it. You don't get to add logos to everybody's theology. That's where the deception comes in and identifies itself as the deception as people design logos and start hiding behind logos and theologies. Scripture is scripture. You can't add to it or take away from it until the heavens and earth pass away. Not one yod or tittle shall pass from the law of Torah. The law of Torah. The spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. The letter of the law kills. The spirit of the law gives life. Okay, guys. I kept it short. All right. So, this video will give you what Scripture says is discernment. I love you guys. This is how we introduce discernment into the group for the Bethelites when they come looking for actual scriptural. This is what we are supposed to be using as discernment, not them discerning the spirits, which is the new age witchcraft that they're practicing in Bethel treasure hunts and anything else that has to do with the divination type stuff. That would include the Christ alignment tarot cards. Those two things both come from the Kabbalah. Get to the scriptures. Get away from the Bethel teachings of what's going on and get back to discerning what scripture is according to the words in the Bible.
hashing a matter out, and then a decision being made from that. So
he is describing iron sharpening iron. So we're going to let Kim do this because this will explain why you should listen. We are going to crino and diacrino. We are going to listen to the points that are being presented before we decide what we are going to believe. So let's let Michael do the introduction real quick, and then I'm done with the video.
example of this would be Acts chapter. The time is it our own deceitfully wicked receive. Okay, everyone, Shabbat Shalom. I love the chorus. I love it. Today's teaching, yet again, is going to be a continuation of what we've kind of covered over the past 2 weeks. So cast your minds back to about 2 weeks ago. We did the teaching, Who Are We? That there's a call going out. There's a call back to covenant, to being part of the house of Israel, but more importantly, that there's a call to a wedding feast. And the invitation has gone out to everyone. But as we know from the parable, some people are too preoccupied with the things of this world. And these are within the believing body, they would rather focus on the things of this world than maybe heed the call to the wedding feast. And then the last week, we kind of covered this idea of having ears to hear, because if this call has gone out, well, then we need ears to hear it. And we linked this, ears to hear, eyes to see, hearts ready to receive, all these types of things. And what could possibly get in the way of that, whether it be religious dogma, our thoughts, our own deceitful hearts even. Today I want to look at discernment. Because if there's a call that's gone out, we need to rightly discern it. Are we hearing from the Spirit? Are we hearing the voices of demons? Or the majority of the time, is it our own deceitfully wicked hearts? So I want to look at this, and really there's two main legs to discernment. I was thinking about this. There's one leg which is to do with the more kind of practical application of everyday life, how to make good decisions according to biblical wisdom, if that makes sense. So, and then the other leg is how to discern scripture. How do you... So a really good example of this would be Acts chapter 15, when the apostles, they realize they've got this influx of new believers who have not been raised in the Father's ways, and they make a decision, they make a judgment. They go, okay, considering the Torah and what the Torah has to say, we will now make this decision. So you see this kind of process of hashing a matter out, and then a decision being made from that. So, and discernment is part of that process, because it's one thing having the knowledge. So all of us are here today because we understand that the Torah and the prophets are still applicable to our lives. Now, that's just a knowledge of it. You know to turn up here today. But then what's the wisdom in maybe applying some of these Torah principles in a world so far removed from the context it was originally given in? And also, how do you apply Torah principles, for example, in a society where Torah is now no longer the law of the land? We're in captivity. This is what the apostles were dealing with to a certain degree, because yes, they had a certain amount of autonomy, but they were still also under the bondage of Rome. We don't even have that certain amount of autonomy anymore. We're just in bondage. So how do we, it takes discernment to be able to apply the Father's ways in our lives, and also so that good fruit bear of it. So those are the two main legs of discernment. Today is going to be more of like the broader sort of principles that we can apply, because when it comes to application, this is more of on a case-by-case basis. You know, I can't tell you how to apply biblical wisdom because you're going through this situation and you're going through that situation. That's an as it comes basis. And as we grow, we get better at applying the Father's ways. So I can only kind of give you general principles. However, we can maybe start covering some of the other leg, which is discernment of Scripture. And after this, unless the Father throws a curveball, I'm kind of thinking to kind of go down this road of the apostles, like Peter, James, and Paul, make some bold claims. Yet they're completely anchored in the Torah and the prophets. And a lot of people they take at face value, say what the apostles said, but they don't understand the thought process and how it actually goes from Torah through to prophet, through to the New Testament. So maybe breaking down some of these things, you know, things like the difficult words of Paul, you know, because I'm very aware there's a lot of new people coming in. So how, you know, because we haven't had the upbringing that they've had. They were raised in Torah. They were raised on the prophets. So many things they said were just, it went without say. And we're having to rediscover these things. So anyway, discernment. Let's dive in. But just so you guys are kind of aware where I'm thinking of moving forward. Matthew 16, verse 2.